Villain. At the beginning, the protagonist is sentenced to castration, and the protagonist collapses. Chapter 16. Luo Shinkai was really getting more and more excited. Unexpectedly, this boy fell in love with him when he first saw him. The delusion he mentioned was probably the way a young foundation establishment monk looked up to a nascent soul monk at that time. Zhang Yantian continued, Master, aren't you all confused as to why I practice so fast? Actually, it has a lot to do with her. Really? Luo Shinkai's heart beat hard. Well, yes. Zhang Yantian nodded heavily. Actually, I came across a chance. It was a book left by an ancient, powerful man. It is recorded on it that if you practice according to the skills he left behind, you can break through in the shortest time. There is such a book. Luo Shinkai was shocked. Zhang Yantian nodded. I'm also surprised, but it does exist, but the disadvantage is, the success rate is 1%. Success leads to success, failure leads to death. Zhang Yantian kept talking about what he was talking about and was fooled by Luo Shinkai to the point of being stunned. What kind of secrets are there? How can there be such a thing? The reason why he has soared to a higher level is because of Tongzi. But Luo Shinkai didn't know that she couldn't help but believe the facts before her eyes, otherwise how could she explain Zhang Yantian's soaring cultivation level? Luo Shinkai couldn't sit still now. He slapped the table and stood up to scold. Are you crazy? 1%, do you know what the probability is? If you fail, don't you know what the consequences will be? Why do you do this? The worst case is death. Zhang Yantian responded immediately. If I succeed, I will have a chance. If I fail, the outcome will be death. So, I want to take a gamble. I don't want to be the one looking up to her. I want to be shoulder to shoulder with her. I want to stand by her side. Even if I fail, my death will have no impact on anyone, even her. She may not notice me at all. Maybe my death is just an accident to her. Luo Shinkai's nose suddenly felt sour, and she actually had the urge to cry. But she was still in good control. Zhang Yantian then let out a long sigh. For this goal, I will wear the stars and the moon and work hard without caring about myself. Although, the result is not satisfactory. Even though I can stand by her side, I can't express my emotions to her. However, it's not like I lost everything. At least I still have some cultivation left behind. When he said this, Zhang Yantian secretly thought that it was time to stop. You can't say too much, you have to give Luo Shinkai enough room for imagination. Okay, Master, I may have said a little too much just now. I'm sorry, I just want to find someone who is relevant to talk to about my long-standing backlog. It's just emotion. Irrelevant people. Luo Shinkai was still a little sad. She was not an irrelevant person, but Zhang Yantian thought he didn't know. But it still needs to be hidden. Zhang Yantian stood up and said to Luo Shinkai, Master, I have to take my leave. The rude words I made to Master yesterday also made me hot-headed for a moment. I hope Master will forgive me. With that said, Zhang Yantian walked out of the house without even looking back. In an instant, Zhang Yantian's figure had disappeared from the sky. Luo Shinkai was left sitting alone in the room in a daze. Only today did she know that Zhang Yantian was so affectionate towards her. As for the Kankanaizi sentence yesterday, maybe he was jealous. He felt that he was protecting Yi Feng in every possible way, so he suddenly became angry and said those words. After Luo Shinkai confirmed that Zhang Yanjun had left, he carefully took out the silk cloth from the storage ring. The silk cloth is still intact, and there is not a single red bean missing inside. There are 199 red beans here. If according to Zhang Yantian, 200 red beans are needed to express one's feelings to him, wouldn't it be, these days? But because of the battle yesterday, the silk cloth was lost. As a result, Zhang Yantian felt that everything was God's will. Luo Shinkai was extremely confused. She didn't know whether she should return it or not. If he returned it, it might mean that Zhang Yantian wanted to express his feelings to him. If he doesn't return it, Zhang Yantian will just think that everything is God's will, and then he will completely put this relationship into dust. On the other side, Zhang Yantian, who had arrived at his elder peak in a flash, was holding a basin of rice grains and happily feeding the chickens. Chickens, eat more. When you are full, I will bake them more deliciously. Zhang Yantian was in a good mood. He basically has a foreshadowing for everything he does. This time the goal was achieved, and the division plan officially began. He knew that the silk cloth was with Luo Xingkai. If Luo Xingkai secretly returns the silk cloth, it means that she hopes to make up for the last red bean. It's like acquiescence, so you can come in an above-board manner. If it's still hidden, that's okay. Anyway, the things and words that I wanted to tell her have already been said from other angles. Unless Luo Xingkai is a hard-hearted person, there will be trouble if he doesn't show mercy. The road to becoming a master still needs to be done step by step, and Kong Kangnazi will be there sooner or later. During this day, Zhang Yantian didn't go anywhere, nor did he go to humiliate Yi Feng. But enjoying the good times at the top of the mountain. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed and it was time to head to the Seoul prison. Before dawn, Zhang Yantian was already sitting on the top of the mountain, looking into the distance. He is an enshrined elder in the law enforcement line, and he also shoulders the responsibility of protecting the law. In the Seoul imprisonment area, a total of 10 people were removed from each line, making a total of 12 lines, that is, 120 people. He and Luo Xingkai are guardians of the road, and will not take action easily unless there is a critical moment. Therefore, each lineage has a deacon elder who leads the team. Excluding him and Luo Xingkai, there are 132 people in charge. And the deacons and elders of the law enforcement line are Nguyen Dong. The law enforcement disciples are also led by Nguyen Dong. Whoa! While Zhang Yantian was looking into the distance, a beautiful figure appeared behind him. Master, we have gathered. Yes. Zhang Yantian responded calmly. You take them to the sect square first. Everyone will gather there, and they will have to listen to the old turtle egg of the sect leader. I have some other things to do, I'll get there later. Yes, young master. Nguyen Dong is very obedient. He only knows how to execute the orders and doesn't ask too many questions. Zhang Yantian naturally has his own affairs. Wake up Yi Feng. In the past 2 days, he went there once and slapped Yi Feng again. Comfortable. I still have to smoke today. But in the past 2 days, he had not seen Luo Xingkai. Play hard to get, always have a plan. Zhang Yantian thought as he stepped off the top of the mountain platform. With a few more light steps, the figure has disappeared into the sky. When he appeared again, he was not outside Qinglan Peak, but directly in Yi Feng's room. Yi Feng was already up at this moment, working on putting together what is needed for this line. All the elixirs, spiritual stones, and medicines to repair injuries were put into the storage bag. She didn't notice Zhang Yantian appearing behind her at all. When Yi Feng turned around, he suddenly saw a man in black robe sitting on a chair in his room. She was startled, and her whole body shook. You, why are you here again? Yi Feng secretly rejoiced that he did not communicate with Mr. Long. Otherwise, Zhang Yantian might really find out. If that were the case, artifacts such as the spirit fusion mirror would definitely be taken away. Why do you think I came? Zhang Yantian chuckled. Judging from the guilty look on that fool's face, you can tell that he is worried about being exposed in that bullshit mirror. Isn't there just a spiritual body living inside? What's all the fuss about? Naturally, Zhang Yantian would not snatch her magic weapon now. After all, the Rongling mirror and Lao Deng inside are now Yi Feng's spiritual sustenance. If you want to get more humiliation points, you have to humiliate yourself while someone cheers Yi Feng up and gives her hope. Only in this way can the benefits be maximized. When Yi Feng was no longer valuable and could be killed directly, he also killed the spirit body and pocketed the treasure. I got up early today without bothering the elders. Yi Feng was a little angry, but he didn't dare to show it. Fortunately, I got up early, otherwise, I would have had a lot of romance. After hearing this, Zhang Yantian stood up slowly, walked over, and looked at Yi Feng head on. Yi Feng swallowed his saliva and felt inexplicably flustered. Whoa! Crack! Zhang Yantian struck very quickly, with a big blow that directly knocked Yi Feng to the ground. Yi Feng's head was buzzing and he was confused again. Ding! Humiliation value plus 3000. You, why did you hit me? Yi Feng came back to his senses and was so angry that he really wanted to cry. You got up so early and still fought. Why should I beat you? Knowing that today we are going to the Seoul imprisonment prison, Every disciple is recharging his energy and giving his best. It's better for you, if you don't get a good rest, you get up so early to eat shit. What do you think you are? Because of your cultivation level, you don't need to rest. Do you want to hold you back? Yi Feng was speechless for a moment. That seems to make sense. Bah, there is a good reason, it is obviously just a random excuse to slap yourself. But fortunately, at least I will find a reason to fight. If I stop looking for excuses and just hit him, I will cry. With no choice but to do so, Yi Feng stood up slowly, clasped his fists and gritted his teeth and said, "It's the disciples' negligence, please don't take offense, elder." Yi Feng's dignity was completely shattered. His hatred for Zhang Yantian became even stronger. Zhang Yantian nodded. "If you know your mistakes, you can improve a lot. Dogs can be taught. Okay, it's still early before departure. You can catch up on some sleep. This elder will watch you go to rest and leave without disturbing you." Yi Feng cursed secretly. But it seemed that if he didn't lie down and rest, Zhang Yantian wouldn't leave. Thinking this, Yi Feng went back to the bed, climbed up, and closed his eyes. But suddenly, a sharp palm wind came towards his face. Yi Feng secretly thought it was not good. Crack. There was another crisp slap. Yi Feng was whipped to the floor again. Zhang Yantian's face was full of anger. "You are really sleeping. What the hell, do you want more than 100 people to leave waiting for you alone?" Ding. Continuous critical hits, humiliation value plus 5,000. Yi Feng panted rapidly, really wanting to fight for his life. "Hurry up, pack up, gather and leave for Zongmen Square." Zhang Yantian's harsh words were completely meant to teach the juniors a lesson. Yi Feng collapsed. Tears in eyes. "But you still have to respond. I know my mistake, I will fix it now." Saying that, Yi Feng started to stir around again and continued to sort out quickly. Zhang Yantian nodded. "This is the genius, so work hard." Zhang Yantian disappeared from the room in an instant. When the sky turned fish belly white, the Zongmen Square was already covered in darkness. There are 12 rows in total, with 10 disciples and 1 deacon standing in each row. Everyone's faces were filled with perseverance and expectation. The place where spirits are imprisoned is a place of great opportunity. Although there are dangers in this line of work, there is never any danger in the path of spiritual practice. They waited for the sect leader to speak one by one, and then set off. Zhang Yantian and Luo Xingkai stood at the top, one on the left and one on the right. One was wearing a black robe with dragon patterns, and his silver hair was moving lightly. One was wearing a long blue skirt with flowing hair. A handsome man and a beautiful woman are a match made in heaven. In such a comparison, the old turtle egg of the sect leader seems a bit low. But as a sect leader, his aura is still very strong. I saw his sharp eyes, not angry and intimidating, scanning the scene. The prisoner's prison will open in 100 years. You are lucky. As the leaders of the sect's major branches, you are qualified to go there. With opportunities, there are also risks. On this trip, some people may get great opportunities, and some may die because of it, but this is the fate of a monk. Everyone in this group knows that not only our Xuanling sect, but also other sects and forces. There are quotas and agreements between the major sects. No strong person above nascent soul will compete for it, but the forbidden area is inherently dangerous. However, this sect leader still has to explain that he will come back as much as possible. This sect leader is waiting for you. Zhang Yantian wanted to laugh a little when he heard Lu Ming forcefully force Lai Lai. What the hell, if they get the chance, it will be their own. It's not like you have to turn in part of it. Dog capital. After listening to Lu Ming chattering for a while, Lu Ming said, "This time, Elder Zhang and Elder Luo from the sect will be your protectors. Remember, the two elders will only protect you when other strong men of the sect break the treaty or encounter emergencies. Other times, the elders will not intervene. You not only need opportunities, but you also need growth. Elder Luo, Elder Zhang, you can explain a few words." Lu Ming said to the two of them at this time. Luo Xingkai has a cold temperament, so he will definitely not talk nonsense at this time. I wish you good luck. There was a burst of cheers from below. When it came to Zhang Yantian, he was too lazy to speak. But I still want to say this symbolically. Life and death are destiny, wealth and honor are in heaven. As soon as these words came out, the scene suddenly became quiet. Then bursts of shouting broke out. What an apt sentence. Life and death are determined by destiny, wealth and honor are in heaven. Lu Ming raised his hand and pressed it, then his voice was high-pitched, resounding throughout the sect. Let's go. I will obey the orders of the sect master. The whole crowd responded in unison. The next second, a huge flying boat slowly approached from high in the sky. The disciples on the square turned into streams of light, and all of them flew to the flying boat with their swords. Luo Xingkai and Lu Ming were on the flying boat instantly after saluting. Zhang Yantian, on the other hand, didn't show any courtesy at all and went up directly. The flying boat is controlled by spiritual power. When it changes direction, it makes bursts of roar. Zhang Yantian and Luo Xingkai stood at the head of Feizhou, glanced at everyone, and then turned to face forward. All the way north. The speed of the flying boat is not slow, but it still takes half a day to reach the destination. Before setting off, I had calculated that after arriving at the Seoul prison, I could rest for half a day. You can only enter when the restriction is lifted at midnight. The flying boat travels all the way. The disciples on the flying boat were whispering to each other, and they also had a lot of longing for the forbidden land of imprisoned spirits. Yi Feng seemed out of place. If he had practiced in the past, Yi Feng could always be that understanding brother. It's like he knows a little bit about everything and can give advice. It made everyone worship him a little bit. But now everything has changed. Yi Feng is a bit introverted. A person is hiding in the corner of the flying boat, doing nothing and saying nothing. Of course, this is what outsiders see. In fact, Yi Feng was communicating with Mr. Long in the spirit fusion mirror. Mr. Long once said that the soul prison is his home field. As a spiritual body, his perception ability is quite terrifying in a place full of deathly aura. He knows where there are secret treasures. In addition, Mr. Long is well informed and can pick up on things even if they are very inconspicuous in the eyes of outsiders. As for plugins, you must have some skills. Long Lao, as soon as we enter the soul imprisoned land, do I need to separate from everyone and go hunt for treasures alone? Yi Feng communicated with him using his soul power. Before, she really didn't dare to leave the team because she was afraid that Zhang Yantian would kill her silently. But it's different now. She really wanted to break away from the team. Zhang Yantian's main duty is to protect the Dao, so he will naturally not leave the main force. When she left alone, she didn't have to worry about Zhang Yantian causing trouble, and she could let Mr. Long take him around to look for opportunities. Mr. Long chuckled. There is no need to worry, there is death energy everywhere in the soul prison. This death energy can isolate the breath from the secret treasure, but it has no hindrance to me. In order not to attract Zhang Yantian's attention, you will follow everyone first. Whenever there is a valuable treasure, I will mark it. After leaving, I will retrieve it quietly to avoid competition. Yi Feng trusted Mr. Long very much and naturally obeyed his words. By the way, Mr. Long, you said that the death energy can block the breath of the secret treasure. Is there a possibility that someone else can sense the secret treasure through the death energy? Mr. Long shook his head confidently. My little friend, there is no need to worry, it is impossible. Death energy is the energy of death. Only the spirit body can sense it to the greatest extent. Not everyone has my ability to store the spirit body in the spirit melting mirror. The spiritual body has been separated from the main body for too long, and it will either be replaced by another person, or the body will die and the Tao will disappear. Yi Feng was greatly relieved. It turned out that this was his home field, that Mr. Long said. Unless. Elder Long suddenly said this, which made Yi Feng stunned. Unless what? Unless among the people who go to the forbidden area, some of them have the immortal demonic body, or the body of 10,000 demons. These two special physiques, they themselves have death energy, so they can fuse all soul bodies or death energy, death chi will naturally not affect it. Or maybe there is a devouring type of technique, and it has to be a soul devouring type of technique. But there is not one such person among billions, because he has transcended the 6 realms and is not tolerated by the way of heaven. Even in the upper world, there is no one. Yi Feng nodded. In this case, it is impossible. It seems that in this industry, I really want to make a lot of money. Yi Feng and Gil were happy and finally found comfort. With Mr. Long here, going to the Seoul prison is like going home. Yi Feng was smiling secretly. Zhang Yantian, on the other hand, was also very busy. He stood on the edge of the flying boat, standing with his hands behind his hands, looking into the distance. The sun shone on his body, and his black robe fluttered in the wind. No matter how you look at it, it has a bit of twilight and poetry. Many female disciples of the sect were watching secretly, with expressions of infatuation on their faces. Also peeking was Luo Xingkai. After the silk cloth incident, Luo Xingkai suddenly felt a little afraid to look directly at Zhang Yantian. She couldn't regard Zhang Yantian as an elder of the same generation or as her disciple. Feelings are changing quietly. Now I saw Zhang Yantian silently looking into the distance, alone and slightly sad. It also felt like he was still upset about losing the silk cloth, or he was trying to let go of a relationship that shouldn't exist. In short, the more she guessed, the more unnatural she became. In fact, Zhang Yantian was not being sentimental, nor was he pretending to be vicissitudes of life. Rather, he was pondering philosophical questions. He loves learning very much, and his love for learning will lead to many philosophical issues. Is a pregnancy for 10 months considered illegal detention? If a pregnant woman hits someone, does that count as a gang fight? I punched myself and it hurt. Does it mean I'm strong or does it mean I'm weak? If I defeat myself, do I win or lose? The function of the sweat medicine is to make people sleepy, and the function of the laxative is to make people wake up and then go to the toilet immediately. If I gave Yi Feng to take the medicine and the laxative at the same time, would she fall asleep on the bed? Can a perfume that smells like shit still be called perfume? While Zhang Yantian was thinking, he also felt that he should keep up with the experiment. Let's start by giving Yi Feng laxatives and Mongolian sweat medicine. See if Yi Feng lies on the bed, or if the effect of the sweat medicine breaks through, he rushes to the toilet. Philosophical issues always need to be verified. Practice the truth. After thinking about it all the way, the flying boat had stopped above the entrance to the prisoner's prison before he knew it. The flying boat has reached its limit here. The main reason is that the entrance to the Seoul prison is restricted and cannot be flown in. Looking from a high place, one can already see many camps where sect forces are stationed. They were all waiting for midnight to enter. The flying boat descended slowly and landed 500 meters away from the forbidden area. Everyone from Xuanling sect also started building a camp. Even though they were hundreds of meters away, they could still feel the gusts of wind blowing from inside the forbidden area. It's chilling. As expected of a forbidden place for imprisoned souls, it's a bit scary. Did you hear it? The sound of squealing. A female disciple from the formation lineage looked nervous. I heard it, it was screaming so loudly that it must be a wraith. That's the old cat's name, Chun, asking you to study more, but you insist on picking up excrement. Zhang Yantian stood at the top of a big tree, looking at the forbidden area for imprisoned spirits. The entire forbidden area is filled with a layer of death energy. An absolutely vicious place. But unfortunately, he is an immortal demon body, and these dead energy are also the best nutrients for him to nourish his body. Not only that, these dead auras also conceal a lot of peerless secret treasures. Although the forbidden area was opened only once every 100 years, it has already experienced endless years. During this period, groups of people came continuously. The reason why those secret treasures are still there is because they have not been excavated because of their lingering vitality. Some things are really determined by luck. The secret treasure has been left for endless years, and no one has ever discovered it, just for Yi Feng to come and take it away. The Elder Long in Yi Feng's spirit fusion mirror is a spirit body and is naturally not affected by the death energy. He followed Yi Feng in and found the location of the secret treasure for Yi Feng in just a few minutes. This forbidden area is really tailor-made for Yi Feng. If he hadn't been an immortal demon body and was innately immune to death energy, he would really not have been able to discover these things. Elder Luo, I'll go explore the surrounding area. You and your disciples can set up camp first. Zhang Yantian sent a message to Luo Xingkai's ears, and he quietly entered the Seoul prison. The restrictions in this place couldn't stop Zhang Yantian at all. Once the demonic body emerges, all ghosts surrender, and the restriction is just a decoration. Zhang Yantian walked in swaggeringly. It was originally a lifeless situation, and there was no way to see the road at a glance. But at this time, they dispersed automatically, as if they were afraid of Zhang Yantian. In the forbidden area, everything is decayed and lifeless. The towering trees are all dry. The ground was a dead swamp, exuding a foul smell. Although vines were all over the ground, they were still in a state of death. It is almost impossible for any living beings to exist. Not even plants can survive, let alone living things. But there were no living beings, but there were an unusually large number of undead. Wails filled the fields, hovering in the air, cries, laughter, and screams could be heard all the time. If it weren't for Zhang Yantian's physique, he might have been able to be sucked by these undead just by forcing his way into the forbidden area. Smelling the deathly aura that permeated his body, Zhang Yantian had an inexplicable impulse and really wanted to devour it all. There are also these undead spirits, which are all nourishment for his immortal demon body. However, Zhang Yantian didn't intend to devour it now. People from all major sects will come in, and no one knows how many people will die by then. The more people die, the more resentful and dead souls there will be, and the more enjoyable it will be to devour them later. This is like YY reaching its peak, which is different from watching movies and reaching its peak. But he still wants to accept some of the secret treasures here. Only the spirit body on Yi Feng can sense these, and others cannot. Naturally, he would not leave Yi Feng to be that hermaphrodite. According to his perception, Zhang Yantian first arrived under a lightning-struck tree. The wood was charred black by lightning, but there was also a restriction on it. Ding, host, the systems of these secret treasures in the prisoner's forbidden land are all complete. The secret treasures here are more or less incomplete in the laws of the Great Tao, and they cannot exert 20/30ths of the power they had at their peak. Zhang Yantian chuckled. You think I took these for use? Zhang Yantian didn't hesitate too much, raised his hand and tore open the restriction. Suddenly, a golden artifact appeared in front of him. As the system said, they are all broken products of the law, but there is no difference in their overall appearance. Two dragons circled in each direction, forming a handle, and the sharp blade part was glowing with faint thunder. The ancient artifact golden dragon scissors. Zhang Yantian grabbed it in his hand and felt cold. It's okay to use it for manicure. Zhang Yantian pocketed it directly. Then he stood there and thought for a moment. If you can't take things away, let Yi Feng make a trip in vain. Thinking of this, Zhang Yantian glanced outside the forbidden area. On the ancient locust tree more than 10 miles away, there is a first-order spiritual beast, a spiritual lemur. This kind of spiritual beast was the one that Zhang Yantian asked the law enforcement disciples to capture before. He smiled faintly and raised his hand to grab it. A black light burst out, instantly surrounding the spirit lemur and pulling it to his side. The lemur was so frightened that he shouted, "Gee, gee, gee." With a flick of Zhang Yantian's finger, the spirit lemur was moved to the location where the artifact was placed. The spirit lemur struggled wildly and kept shouting. Reply. Zhang Yantian said lightly, and the dark light surrounding the spirit lemur tightened more and more. Under such oppression, the spirit lemur couldn't bear the torture and even its feces was squeezed out. Zhang Yantian was very satisfied when he saw the large pool inside the tree struck by lightning. He left a breath of golden dragon shears inside, and then threw in a few leaves. As long as Yi Feng looks for it according to the instructions, he will definitely see the golden light under the leaves after unlocking the restriction. At this time, I reached out to pick it up, and tisk tisk tisk, the golden legend suddenly turned into TF Boys. After doing everything well, Zhang Yantian restored the ban. Go to the next place. If it weren't for Zhang Yantian, all of this would be just like what the old man Denglong said, it would be the home field. Although these artifacts, magic weapons, and laws of the Great Road are incomplete, each of them can be encountered but cannot be sought. Fragments of the god-killing spear, Wuji umbrella ribs, 5 directions flags, and bitter bamboo saplings. Which kind of existence shocked the world of immortality? Especially the 5 square flag, the rules are relatively complete and it is definitely a great weapon. The power is infinite, all evils can be avoided, and all laws cannot invade. It is similar to his 9 nether stainless steel chain. In the script, Yi Feng relied on the 5 flags to survive all kinds of crises. Every time he went somewhere and took something, Zhang Yantian would be very considerate and let the spirit lemur pull it up. I have to say that the inventory of small spiritual beasts is quite large. A little expert in planting and fertilizing. After getting these things, the only things that interested him were the death energy in this forbidden area and the dead souls. Just as he was about to leave, Zhang Yantian felt that these insults to Yi Feng, might not be enough. The humiliation value is in case the expectations are not met. Ever since, Zhang Yantian took out a pen and paper, controlled the penholder, and wrote something on the paper. I am the ancient true God. I peeked into the future and learned that someone destined to come here. Then there was a lot of nonsense, basically asking Yi Feng to do various things. But the greatest humiliation is the last sentence in a long string of words. If Yi Feng saw it, his humiliation value would definitely soar to the extreme. Very nice. After doing everything well, Zhang Yantian left the forbidden area directly. The spirit lemur, which failed to keep up with Zhang Yantian and was not protected by Zhang Yantian's aura, instantly turned into a ball of powder and dissipated in this forbidden area. Zhang Yantian returned to his station and returned to his nonchalant look. The disciples of each major lineage are well organized. A bonfire was also lit on site, and pots were buried to make rice. Similarly, there are also disciples who discuss things in groups. The forbidden area opens at midnight, and you can only enter at that time. All we have to do now is wait. Is there something wrong? A soft voice sounded. Zhang Yantian looked over and smiled slightly. No. Luo Xingkai nodded and asked no more questions. Zhang Yantian was not in a hurry about what to do with Luo Xingkai. His eyes also fell on Yi Feng. This little brat has good luck with women. Even when he was sitting there, there would be beautiful women talking around him. There is a beautiful woman next to Yi Feng. Hua Zhao. Even though the name looks like an ingredient, the background is not small. The sect's alchemy lineage is dedicated to the elder's daughter. At the same time, her father is also the sect leader Lu Ming's younger brother and cousin. I met Yi Feng when I was in the outer sect, and the two of them had a very good relationship. After entering the inner gate, Hua Zhao naturally went to her father's elixir lineage, while Yi Feng, who was unparalleled in swordsmanship, went to the kendo lineage. It looks like a long-distance relationship, but the sect is not very big, so it's okay. It's just that Yi Feng has always regarded her as his sister, so she naturally has a deep love for Yi Feng. Hua Hiao is a very protective person. No matter what happens, she always protects Yi Feng. She is a typical helper but not a helper. When she was at the outer sect, many people ridiculed Yi Feng's talent, but she was the only one who believed and supported him unswervingly. She also relied on her identity and background to teach him lessons one by one, just to vent his anger on Yi Feng. She was also one of Yi Feng's great helpers in the early stage. Hua Zhao, haha, the surname Hua is not pleasant, this name should be more suitable for the surname Sui. Zhang Yantian walked towards them deliberately. Brother Yi Feng, I have a lot of poison-avoiding pills and body-protecting pills here. I'll give them to you. You may need them when you enter the forbidden area. At this moment, Hua Zhao had a smile on her face and was very enthusiastic. Yi Feng could only smile perfunctorily. If I had known that I would break up with Jill, why did I treat Hua Hiao as my younger sister? I'm sorry. It's better now. Even if I want to stiffen slightly or show respect, I can't. Zhao Zhao, you don't have to give me so much, I'll be fine. Yi Feng was still grateful to Hua Hiao in his heart. In fact, he also had his own idea, which was to ask Hua Hiao's father to make elixirs for him. Be a man again. It's a pity that Hua Zhao's father is only a 4th-level alchemist, not even a 5th-level alchemist. There's too much, but it's not enough, okay. Hua Zhao said, and gave a lot of it to Yi Feng. Senior brother, junior sister Hua Hiao, where are you sharing the spoils? Zhang Yantian said deliberately as he approached. Hearing the sound, Hua Zhao looked up and saw Zhang Yantian. His face fell instantly. She knew that Zhang Yantian made Yi Feng kneel down and kowtow to apologize. She has been enduring it. No one can bully brother Yi Feng. Now, that is here, and he must vent his anger for brother Yi Feng. Whether you can speak or not, how to divide the spoils, this is my own. You don't look like someone. I don't know what kind of evil way you have practiced. After your cultivation has skyrocketed, you bully the weak. It's disgusting. Hua Jiao hugged her hands and started to fight without any mercy. Yi Feng was startled and quickly pulled Hua Jiao. Others don't know about Zhang Yantian, but Yi Feng does. He is like the ferocious beast Yaju, who must retaliate. He is a very insidious person. In addition, Yi Feng really didn't want to have too much friction with him as he was about to enter the soul prison. Zhang Yantian still acted very calmly. The people in the protagonist group were originally used to attack him, and Wahiao is a gossip, so it's normal. When a person dies, his mouth is closed. It seems that junior sister Wahiao is very prejudiced against people with high talent in cultivation. Hua Jiao snorted coldly. I never have any prejudice against anyone. Oh, I'm sorry, maybe you are not a human being. Hua Jiao curled her lips and snorted softly. Oh, your brother Yi Feng is practicing fast, so you are jumping up and down and screaming. If I am practicing fast, I am practicing evil. If you think about it this way, you are now in peace. When your mountain becomes bigger, can I say that you have something to rest on? You dare to humiliate me. Hua Jiao jumped up and stared angrily. Oh, why don't you? Zhang Yantian smiled and stared at her mountain peak. If you talk to someone in the future, it is best to face the other person. Talking to others with your back is not polite. Senbei, Zhang Yantian left behind, flicked his black robe, and left directly. Hua Jiao had never been humiliated like this before, and she immediately rushed forward to ask Zhang Yantian for an explanation. But Yi Feng quickly grabbed her. Jiao Jiao, don't go. At this critical moment, don't provoke him for the time being. When Hua Jiao faced Yi Feng, she showed a gentle smile. Brother Yi Feng, don't worry. My father is the enshrined elder of the sect's alchemy lineage. He is on an equal footing with that fool. He doesn't dare to do anything to me. Hua Jiao was extremely confident and followed directly. Today I must let Zhang Yantian know how powerful Miss Hua is. Jiao Jiao. You, sigh. Yi Feng sighed helplessly. This feud must have been forged again, but luckily, Zhang Yantian didn't dare do anything to Hua Jiao. At most, I can find faults after I go back. Zhang Yantian naturally noticed Hua Jiao following him. The other party couldn't wait to die so much, so he really couldn't let her down. After he was far away from the camp, Zhang Yantian stopped behind a tree. Hua Jiao arrived just in time and sneered. Zhang Yantian, you know that this lady is here to scold you, right? You are also very self-aware and know how to stay away from the crowd and save some face for yourself. In that case, you apologize to my brother Yi Feng in front of everyone today, and let this matter go. Otherwise, when I go back, I will tell my father that you humiliated me. You know that my father is the clan leader's brother. Do you dare to offend the clan leader? Zhang Yantian looked at her as if nothing had happened. Why do you need to apologize? Hua Jiao frowned and said with a disdainful smile, only for you to make my brother Yi Feng kowtow every 3 steps. Zhang Yantian nodded. Then do you know the reason? You don't need to know that you are insulting my brother Yi Feng. For this reason, you have to apologize and you have to kneel down and apologize. Zhang Yantian licked his lips. If you don't want to know, I have to tell you, no, let you see it. With that said, Zhang Yantian flicked the shadow stone, and the scene inside the shadow stone immediately appeared. Zhang Yantian also explained, the reason why he knelt down and apologized was because he insulted me when he was enforcing the law, and the reason why he was enforcing the law was because I wrongly accused Yi Feng of committing adultery with Elder Qi's daughter-in-law. Furthermore, the punishment for law enforcement is castration. Your brother Yi Feng is no longer a man. Jia Jia Jia. Looking at Zhang Yantian with a devilish smile in front of him, cold sweat broke out on Hua Jiao's body. A fear emerged from within. In the picture, Zhang Yantian innocently missed Yi Feng's one. You, how dare you? How dare you? I will send a message to my father right now, and they will definitely punish you. Hua Jiao was extremely angry. She had to expose Zhang Yantian and let him suffer castration. No, life would be worse than death. Just when she was about to turn around, she suddenly found that she couldn't move. Oh, you are a spoiled child and your brain is stupid. I wonder if I will be affected by swallowing your soul. Zhang Yantian's sudden voice made Wahiao feel like she had fallen into an ice cave. She wanted to shout, but she couldn't. That moment just now, Zhang Yantian brought a lot of resentment to Hua Jiao, and such resentment would make her soul even more delicious. The next second, Hua Jiao moved and faced Zhang Yantian. She's also a beauty, but it's a pity that I can't have someone like you if I don't know how to raise her. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Yantian's pair of pupils suddenly turned into black holes. The devouring demon function is working. Hua Jiao trembled all over and opened her mouth. Her eyes, mouth, and green color were connected with Zhang Yantian's eyes and mouth. All absorbed. My father and the sect leader will not let you. Hua Jiao's whole body was trembling more and more, and she forced herself to say a word while tears rolled down her eyes uncontrollably. She has smelled death and found that her soul has been stripped away, which is extremely painful. In just the blink of an eye, Hua Hiao turned into powder, leaving only a set of luxurious clothes, which fell to the ground. Zhang Yantian licked his lips and a smile appeared on his face. Your father. Sect leader. Sooner or later he will also be my nourishment. Well, as expected of Miss Danmai. She has taken a lot of pills. Her soul is filled with the fragrance of pills and has been marinated in the taste. Zhang Yantian snapped his fingers, and Hua Jiao's only clothes, secret treasures, and storage bags left on the ground disappeared. Of course, Zhang Yantian still left Hua Jiao's magic weapon, a red tripod for making alchemy. If Hua Jiao chases her out and still doesn't return, Yi Feng will definitely look for her and will definitely suspect him. In this case, it is not impossible to leave Hua Jiao's relics to Yi Feng. Yi Feng had to know that he was the one who killed the person, but there was no evidence. She couldn't afford to be framed as an elder, so what could she do to herself? The deeper Yi Feng's hatred for himself, the stronger his desire to trample him under his feet, the higher the humiliation value will be. After finishing everything, Zhang Yantian arrived at the camp set up by the law enforcement team in an instant. All the disciples of the law enforcement line obeyed his orders. How could he not like such an obedient disciple? He is an elder of the law enforcement line, and he still has to take care of some of the people under him. Elder. Seeing Zhang Yantian approaching, the busy law enforcement disciples stood up one after another to salute. Well, after Zishi entered the forbidden area, he couldn't rest well for a long time. Now he should take good care of himself. Zhang Yantian's expression was dull. Disciples of the law enforcement line all respected Zhang Yantian, and Zhang Yantian's words were always regarded as imperial edicts. Yes, elder. Zhang Yantian scanned the camp and headed towards a tent. This tent is used by female disciples, and men will basically not go there. But Zhang Yantian was different. The law enforcement branch's camp is a bit far away from the other branches. The main reason is that the law enforcement lineage and the disciples from other lines don't get along very well. After all, they are in charge of punishments. People from other branches more or less dislike the law enforcement branch, and some are afraid of it. Of course, some people with guilty consciences also want to please. This is why law enforcement is so rich. After entering the tent, the three female disciples from the law enforcement line also bowed and walked out consciously. Only Zhang Yantian and Nguyen Dong were left. Young master. Nguyen Dong made a feminine salute, her charming face flashing with passion. Zhang Yantian naturally took her into his arms, raised his hand to lift her fair chin, and touched her smooth jade skin with his fingers. Nguyen Dong is also among the top 10 beauties of the sect, and her peach blossom eyes glow with an alluring luster. The most fascinating thing is the tear mole in the corner of her eye, which adds a touch of style to her. Without saying a word, Zhang Yantian lowered his head and pressed it against Nguyen Dong's soft red lips. Well. Nguyen Dong hugged Zhang Yantian emotionally and cooperated diligently. After kissing for a while, Zhang Yankai slowly moved away. Nguyen Dong leaned somewhat feebly in Zhang Yantian's arms, his eyes full of happiness. Donger. Well, master. This time when you enter the forbidden area, you led our people all the way to the west. No matter what you hear on the way, don't be curious. Tell my disciples, if you want opportunities and want to become stronger, the first thing you have to do is mind your own business. I will obey the young master's order. Nguyen Dong didn't ask why. In her mind, all she had to do was obey Zhang Yantian. Young master, do you need Donger's service? Nguyen Dong's beautiful eyes were filled with affection, and her body seemed to be smelling more and more fragrant. This is also the special constitution of warm winter. As long as you are emotional, there will be a natural charming fragrance. There may be people who make trouble later, so just wait until you get back. Zhang Yantian didn't like to be disturbed, especially when he was in progress. But he also believed that Yifeng would be here soon. When Nguyen Dong heard this, a coldness flashed in his eyes. Someone wants to do harm to the young master. Looking for trouble is looking for trouble. Things that are not good for me are unlikely. Okay, go out and get some air. Zhang Yantian rubbed Nguyen Dong's hair and walked out of the tent. There was also a canine spirit beast being set up outside and being roasted on the fire. The aroma is tangy. Zhang Yantian also sat on a tree stump, took a charcoal, extinguished the fire, and turned it into charcoal. Some routines need to be operated all the time. If you want to get something, you have to put in some time and effort. Zhang Yantian sat alone on the wooden pier, took a piece of paper with a hardness close to that of a greeting card, and began to draw. This world is full of superb paintings, but there are no sketches. The reason why Zhang Yantian took the charcoal pencil was naturally for sketching. Swish, swish, swish. Following the movements of the charcoal pen in his hand, a human-shaped outline gradually appeared on the white paper. It was very fast, and the basic appearance was already in place in a short time. During this period, no one dared to disturb Zhang Yantian, they were all busy with their own affairs. At this moment, on the other side, Yifeng was already asking about Dan Vane. Senior sister, do you know where Hua Zhao is? Yifeng asked a female disciple. Junior sister Hua. No, I haven't seen her for a long time. Didn't I go to your place? Well, she went to my place, but after leaving for a while, she didn't see anyone. The senior sister also shook her head. I don't know about that. Maybe I just thought it was new here and looked around. Her character is like that, and with Elder Luo and Elder Zhang here, no one dares to approach her, and she will be fine. Seeing how relaxed she said it, Yifeng didn't dare to say it directly, just because Zhang Yan was in danger. Hua Zhao was chasing Zhang Yantian just now. Yifeng didn't know what happened during that period, and she didn't dare to doubt her for the time being. But now Hua Zhao is missing, and she can't find her, so she has to think more. I have asked many people and they all said they have not seen it. Yifeng decided to look for it again. If he still couldn't find it, he would report it to his master. We searched around again and mobilized many people to look for it. This matter finally reached Luo Shinkai's ears. Luo Shinkai was furious. When someone loses their trace, they don't report it immediately and go looking for it themselves. How could Yifeng be so stupid? If you want to find traces of a person in the nascent soul stage, you can directly use breath sensing, which does not require a lot of effort. After procrastinating until now, if something really happens, the dishes at the table will probably be cold. Yifeng also knew that he was arrogant in the past and underestimated this matter. He knelt on the ground without saying a word. As Yifeng's senior sister, Tantaiyu didn't say a word. Luo Shinkai immediately released a powerful aura, taking the camp as the center and spreading outward. Within 2 breaths, Luo Shinkai locked his position. She turned into a stream of light and rushed towards the location. Yifeng and others did not dare to slack off and hurriedly followed. When they arrived at the location, they saw Luo Shinkai standing there, looking at the red tripod on the ground. That is Hua Zhao's elixir cauldron. As an alchemist, he would not throw away his alchemy cauldron. This shows that an accident really happened. Yifeng was also dumbfounded. She stepped forward and picked up the red tripod, her hands trembling a little. Others may not be able to judge, but Yifeng can be sure that Huahiao is gone, really gone. This alchemy cauldron is inlaid with a soul stone, which Yifeng gave Hua Zhao to decorate when her father passed the red cauldron to her. Hua Zhao also injected her own aura playfully. He said that if she died one day, the soul stone on the alchemy cauldron would be dim. Now that the soul stone has cracks, the result's needless to say. Zhao Zhao. Zhao Zhao. Yifeng's lips trembled a little. Master, she fell. Luo Shinkai also saw the cracked soul stone. What's going on? Luo Shinkai's beautiful eyebrows were also wrinkled at this time, puzzled. She and Zhang Yantian have been guarding the area, and she can sense the approach of people from other sects who are far away, not to mention the distance of a few miles. How could a living person die for no reason? Zhang. Zhang Yantian, it's him, it must be him, he killed Zhao Zhao. Yi Feng's eyes were blood red, and the energy and blood in his body surged. Presumptuous. Luo Xingkai shouted. A powerful momentum was released, and Yi Feng directly betrayed and knelt on the ground. Luo Xingkai reprimanded with some annoyance. Yi Feng, I know that you and Zhang Yantian have a grudge. How can you frame the elder at will? Yi Feng shook her head, with bloodshot eyes all over her pupils. She kowtowed. Master, I don't dare to slander you. But Zhang Yantian is the most suspicious, because Zhao Zhao offended Zhang Yantian just because she stood up for me. It was also because of me that I went to Zhang Yantian to discuss the matter, but as soon as I left, I never came back. Now the soul stone is also broken, and outsiders can't get close. It's only him, only him. Luo Xingkai wanted to get angry, but according to Yi Feng, Zhang Yantian still needed to come to this matter. Just as Luo Xingkai was about to send a message, Yi Feng suddenly said, Master, let's go directly there. I have a special secret method. If it is really Zhang Yantian who killed him, the evidence will appear. Yi Feng wanted to make a surprise attack, which might catch Zhang Yantian off guard. Luo Xingkai said nothing. Yi Feng also immediately rushed to the law enforcement camp. While on the road, she also communicated with Mr. Long. Mr. Long, you must help me, I must avenge Zhao Zhao, I must. Yi Feng is really a little crazy. She originally valued friendship, and Zhao Zhao was so kind to her and protected her at all times. Now that she fell because of her, Yi Feng was tortured both physically and mentally. Don't worry, little friend. When I see the person, I will use the clarity technique. If it is really him who killed him, the aura of Wahiao will definitely remain on his body. Luo Xingkai stood in the middle, not leaning towards anyone. Now that Yi Feng was suspicious, it was naturally inconvenient for her to go to the front. Simply let Yi Feng figure it out on his own. If Zhang Yantian is wrongly accused by then, Yi Feng will be really miserable. As Yi Feng's master, she would not protect him. On the law enforcement side, the disciples were eating roasted meat, raising their glasses, and feasting. And Zhang Yantian always sat on that wooden pier and painted. When a group of people arrived, Yi Feng stopped where he was and asked Mr. Long to use the clarity technique. Luo Xingkai came behind Zhang Yantian. Just when he was about to speak, he saw the painting Zhang Yantian was painting. It was a picture of a woman, lifelike and very beautiful. The woman in the painting is none other than herself. Luo Xingkai's face suddenly felt hot. Is this bad guy so blatant? Luo Xingkai complained secretly in his heart. Huh. At this time, Zhang Yantian suddenly turned his head and saw Luo Xingkai. He was about to speak, but suddenly thought of something, and quickly hid the painting behind his back. Master, why are you here? Hehe, routine. I. Luo Xingkai's mind was a little confused. All he could think about was how Zhang Yantian carefully painted himself. Fellow disciples, you all came here. Did you find that the law enforcement department is roasting meat? Zhang Yantian laughed and looked approachable. It's true of you that you still don't want to share. The disciples of the law enforcement line also came to their senses. Brothers and sisters, come and have a try. Yi Feng also asked Mr. Long to use the clarity technique to explore Zhang Yantian. But the strange thing is that Zhang Yantian's body has never been contaminated with Wahiao's aura. It's really weird. My little friend, maybe it really wasn't him. If he really was the one who killed me, there will definitely be traces. Unless this Zhang Yantian possesses the devouring martial skill and can directly devour him, all his aura will be dissolved by his own aura. That must be him who possesses the devouring martial arts. I'm sure it's him. Yi Feng was extremely convinced. Here, Luo Xingkai also said to Zhang Yantian, Ahem. Elder Zhang, there is an unexpected situation when you come here this time. Hua Zhao, the Dan-blooded girl, has died. Luo Xingkai said, looking at Zhang Yantian's face. Originally, he was thinking to see if Zhang Yantian would feel a little unnatural after he said these words. After all, if you do something bad, your guilty conscience will be written on your face. But after looking over, what attracted more attention was Zhang Yantian's face that was so enchanting that it cost one's life. Bah, I'm his master, what a mess. Luo Xingkai cursed secretly and quickly regained his cool demeanor. Wahiao of Danmai. Fallen. Master, are you kidding me? There are two of us here, who can get close? Zhang Yantian also looked unbelieving. It's true. The soul stone is broken. It is estimated that the soul order belonging to Wahiao in the soul order pavilion on the sect's side is also broken. The soul order is something that every sect has, and it is mainly used to distinguish the life and death of sect disciples. After all, there are many people in the sect, and they often die quietly when they go out to perform tasks or encounter some unexpected situations. Some of them are not dead, so they can find them as quickly as possible and go to rescue them. The function of the soul order is naturally to identify who it is. When joining the sect, everyone has a soul token, which is generated after injecting their own breath. If the soul is severely injured in death, cracks will appear and the light will be weak. If it falls, it will be completely broken and lose its light. Unless a powerful person appears, he can kill her quietly, but this is obviously not true. Master, where did you find Hua Zhao's body? Zhang Yantian asked. Luo Xingkai shook his head. There is no body, only her alchemy cauldron, and the soul stone on the alchemy cauldron is broken. Zhang Yantian pretended to be thinking, but his expression turned solemn. Which direction is that? Front. North. Nonsense. Zhang Yantian yelled angrily, making everyone present dare not make a sound. Zhang Yantian looked at everyone and said sternly, "What did you say when you came here? Do you think this is an outing? We can't enter the spirit prison right now, but the things inside can come out. It's such a child's play. Didn't you know there is an evil spirit called a spirit devourer?" Zhang Yantian's words made everyone present take a breath. Indeed, there are many spirits in the soul prison, and the devouring spirit is one of them. That kind of evil spirit can devour the soul. After hearing this sentence, most people actually assumed that Hua Zhao was swallowed by the devouring spirit. The devouring soul is afraid of yang energy and does not dare to appear in crowded places, but Wahiao is a woman, with strong yin and weak yang, and she still runs around alone. Now the truth is revealed. But Yi Feng couldn't bear it. He pointed at Zhang Yantian and yelled, "Zhang Yantian, don't be pretentious, it must be you. Hua Zhao was following you at that time, it must be you." Yi Feng was deeply saddened by the death of his friend. There was also some hysteria at the moment. Zhang Yantian's face suddenly turned cold. "You were looking for death." Zhang Yantian showed a sharp and coercive aura. "Do, fluctuates and oscillates." Yi Feng spat out a mouthful of blood and was pinned to the ground by his breath. The disciples of the law enforcement line also had fierce expressions on their faces, and they all wanted to tear Yi Feng apart immediately. "Yi Feng, I thought that because we are from the same sect, I have tolerated it many times, but I didn't expect that you would go even further. You insulted me when I was enforcing the law, and now you dare to slap this kind of label on my head. You really think I don't dare to kill you?" The law enforcement disciples stopped working, and they were all furious. "Yi Feng, you fool, Elder Zhang has been here all the time, as all of us can testify, how dare you accuse me unjustly?" "Yes, our elders were all sitting there painting and never left. Yi Feng, by wrongly accusing our elders, are you bullying our law enforcement lineage?" Luo Xingkai hesitated to speak, but finally did not speak. She chose to believe Zhang Yantian. Yi Feng aroused public outrage in just a few words. If Luo Xingkai hadn't still been there, people from the law enforcement community would have probably taken action. Ding, humiliation value plus 2,500. Ding, humiliation value plus 2,500. The system's continuous prompts made Zhang Yantian increase the pressure. Yi Feng tried hard to get up, but instead his whole face was pressed to the ground. The soil on the ground covered half of her face and was still sinking. "Elder Zhang." Luo Xingkai also reminded him. "If this continues, Yi Feng's head will probably explode. The pressure of the powerful nascent soul is not something that the Foundation establishment disciples can withstand." Naturally, Zhang Yantian would not continue, so he followed Luo Xingkai's reminder, waved his hand, and the pressure was lifted. "Yi Feng, I'm thinking of my senior fellow apprentices, and the occasion is special, so I'll let you go. Now, everyone goes back to rest. I will report back to the sect leader about Hua Zhao's matter. These are not things you should worry about." Zhang Yantian glanced around, and those who gathered around lowered their heads, saluted, and then left. "Master, you should go back and rest." Leave the rest to me. I also have a few words I want to make clear to Yi Feng. Luo Xingkai nodded. She believed in Zhang Yantian. Hua Hiao's death should be the work of the devouring spirits in the forbidden area, and it cannot be human intervention. After Luo Xingkai left, Zhang Yantian raised his hand and swung Yi Feng upside down, hitting a big tree. She covered her heart, feeling very painful, but her eyes remained firm. Zhang Yantian stepped forward, raised his foot, stepped on her ankle, and moved slowly. Ah! Ah! Yi Feng couldn't help shouting in pain, but he kept gritting his teeth and endured it. Zhang Yantian sighed. Brother, you shouldn't always point your finger at me. Even if I kill the person, I can't bear to hear other people pointing fingers at me. Yi Feng was startled and looked at Zhang Yantian with wide eyes. What did you say? I said, I killed that person. I am a small-minded person. If she insulted me so much, I would definitely have to kill her. How wronged I was to be insulted like that by her for no reason, so I swallowed her soul. Don't worry, she doesn't have much pain. She'll be gone if she just cries. Oh yes, what was she shouting before she died? Brother Yi Feng, help me. Ha 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 ha. Yi Feng was trembling all over and his mouth was wide open. Jiao jiao. Jiao jiao. Actually, she was quite unjust. She was spoiled since she was a child. Who asked her father to call me brothers? It's natural for me to teach my brother's daughter a lesson. Ding, kill people and kill the heart, the humiliation value plus 10,000. Ding, the hatred of the protagonist of luck is skyrocketing, and the humiliation value is asterisk 0.5 times. At this time, Zhang Yantian helped Yi Feng up and patted the dirt on her body. Brother, you should be able to understand me, right? Now tell me, Hua Hiao deserves to die, die well, and I will let you go. Yi Feng's eyes widened, and his heart was pierced like a knife. Zhang Yantian, you. Say it quickly. Once you've finished talking, this matter is over. Zhang Yantian had a faint smile on his face. From other angles, it looked like the two of them were talking and laughing, resolving their old feud. Yi Feng was really about to explode. But at this time, Mr. Long in the spirit-melting mirror suddenly thought that his soul communicated, little friend, if you can't fight against such a villain, you are not strong enough. Be patient, you must be patient. When you leave the soul prison and return to the sect, go directly to retreat. I will help you. After hearing what Elder Long said, Yi Feng gritted his teeth again. She endured her grief and said slowly, Hua Jiao deserves to die, die well. Didn't hear you clearly. Say it again. Zhang Yantian came closer and smiled. Hua Jiao deserves to die, die well. Yi Feng's eyes were blood red, and this time, tears really rolled down his face. Hua Jiao was her good friend and her sister, and Hua Jiao loved her, but now she was tired of her, died in vain, and was humiliated by her words. Ding, the humiliation value is doubled. Yi Feng is heartbroken, the humiliation value is plus 30,000. Well, you're right. Well, since you agree, it means this matter is over. Senior brother, go ahead, have a good rest, adjust your condition, we will leave for the forbidden area soon. I will report Hua Jiao's matter when I get back. The sect master understands the righteousness and will definitely pursue her. You can rest assured. Yi Feng was like a walking zombie, his eyes silently leaving. How he wished that he was now a strong man who transformed into gods and could crush Zhang Yantian to death with one hand. It's a pity that it's far, far away. Yi Feng walked for a while, and his eyes suddenly became extremely sharp. I want to become stronger, I want to become stronger. In a blink of an eye, the time is approaching midnight. Outside the soul imprisonment area, a large and dark crowd of people had already gathered. They are all major sects in Yanwu Kingdom. This time all 10 major sects have arrived. Disciples from each sect gathered, while the Tao protecting elders stood high in the sky, looking down. After all, the elders' duty is to deal with emergencies. Everyone is waiting for the ban on the forbidden area to be lifted. Of course, there are also a small number of small sects and independent cultivators. These people all rely on themselves, but they don't have the elders who protect the way like the big sects. Within the large sects, these elders naturally have their own thoughts. They are all nascent soul cultivators, so they naturally don't value ordinary opportunities and just let the juniors compete for them. But if they really encounter someone they covet, they will naturally not care about it and will grab it anyway. The disciples below were discussing, and the elders in the sky were naturally discussing as well. Zhang Yantian and Luo Xingkai were relatively quiet. She was watching him secretly, while he was thinking about philosophical questions. Elder Luo, I haven't seen you for many years, but you still have the same style. At this moment, a laugh sounded. Luo Xingkai glanced at it and didn't pay attention. Naturally, she knew the person coming. He was the young sect leader of the Tiandao sect, Ao Kun. He is a mean-tongued and thick-skinned person. Elder Luo, why are you ignoring me? Tisk, 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 your figure is getting better and better. Do you know why I, the young master, came to take up the position of the guardian elder? In fact, it is all to see you. You may not know how much I miss you. Ever since I came to Huoshan Mountain, I have been awake all night, just wanting to be beautiful again. Zhang Yantian also looked over at this time, with an evil look in his eyes. Too much nonsense. Ao Kun didn't look at Zhang Yantian at all, his eyes wandered over Luo Xingkai's body. Elder Luo, no, Sister Xingkai, why don't we wait for the disciples to enter the forbidden area? Let's find a place to have a long talk, what do you think? Hee hee. Everyone here is actually well aware of the virtues of the young master of the Tiandao sect. I'm just too lazy to meddle in other people's business. The Xuanling sect's people will handle it. Yi Feng, who was below, naturally noticed the one above him, and felt angry in his heart. He actually dared to tease his master. If it weren't for his lack of strength, he would go up and kill him now. Above, when Luo Xingkai couldn't bear it, Zhang Yantian had already taken action. In a blink of an eye, he was behind Ao Kun, raised his hand to grab Ao Kun's neck, and threw him down the mountain heavily. Ao Kun was caught off guard and was directly hit downward by a terrifying force, turning into a stream of light and hitting the ground hard. In an instant, a deep pit appeared on the ground, and thick dust billowed. It's so noisy. Zhang Yantian frowned. Everyone was dumbfounded. This unfamiliar elder from Xuanling sect was actually so terrifying and violent. Ao Kun broke free and stood up, glaring angrily. You are looking for death, do you know who I am? Whoa. A sound broke through the air. A long knife with a dark glow rushed straight down. Ao Kun was horrified. He formed seals with both hands and turned into a golden light curtain, blocking Zhang Yantian's sun-destroying sword. The moment he blocked it, Ao Kun smiled coldly. Ha, it's just broken. Zhang Yantian shouted softly. The sun-destroying knife rotated around a point at high speed. Crack, a cracking sound sounded. How is that possible? Ao Kun exclaimed. Bang! In the blink of an eye, Wu Guang broke through the opponent's light screen. Kai! Ah! A howl sounded. Everyone at the scene was dumbfounded. With one move, the Bingwuguang long sword nailed the young master of the heavenly sword sect and the powerful nascent soul to the ground. Thoroughly penetrated. The young sect leader of the Tiandao sect couldn't even imagine that the other party just thought he was mean-mouthed and long-winded, so he wanted to kill him. This scene was clearly seen by everyone. That Ao Kun's nascent soul actually broke out of his body, which meant that only the nascent soul was left. The most horrifying thing was that when Zhang Yantian raised his hand to grab it, Ao Kun's nascent soul was caught in his palm and disappeared in an instant. Things were so fast that the other elder of the Tiandao sect could not react, and their young sect leader was stunned. Young sect master. Another elder from the Tiandao sect yelled like crazy. This time the young sect leader came out with gold-plated appearance. Now his fate has been handed down. The nascent soul is gone, which is a complete death of body and soul. You killed our young sect leader, our Tiandao sect. Whoa. Zhang Yantian raised his hand to suppress, and two gleaming fine steel chains spiraled out from the cuffs of Zhang Yantian's black robe. Just wrap around the other person. If you don't speak, I will forget to kill you. You two have company. As soon as Zhang Yantian finished speaking, the entire sun-killing knife embedded in the ground began to buzz and tremble. There was a crisp, changlang sound, and it came back automatically, with the tip facing forward, and bursting towards the opponent's chest. No. Kai. Blood splashes. Another penetration, another nascent soul powerhouse fell on the spot. Then, that Bing Dao is weird. It can actually kill strong people in the same realm. Many people saw the clues. It stands to reason that even if the nascent soul-strong person is penetrated through the body, he still has the strength to fight. But 2 people from the Tiandao sect died instantly after being penetrated, which was frightening. The elder's nascent soul also broke out of his body, and his few breaths were taken away by Zhang Yantian. The other sects gasped. None of them dared to look. They did not want to provoke such a murderous and ruthless person, and the affairs of the Tiandao sect had nothing to do with them. Dogs are not suitable for people who stand out or who are morally condemned. And, Luo Xinkei's beautiful eyes stared at Zhang Yantian in shock. She knew that Zhang Yantian did not kill people for no reason. It was the other party who spoke rudely to him first, so he took action. As of now, she doesn't want to say anything more. If the Tiandao sect wants to come to question him, she will accompany Zhang Yantian. But this guy is still too impulsive. The Tiandao sect suddenly died of 2 nascent soul elders. Those disciples became uneasy one by one, and they didn't dare to do anything. Facing Zhang Yantian, they didn't even dare to curse. But if they were asked to leave, they would still be reluctant to leave. After all, who wants to give up an opportunity easily? The scene returned to tranquility for a while. Finally, the time has come. In the prisoner's prison, bursts of wailing suddenly erupted, resounding throughout the heaven and earth, and it was very permeating. The outer layer of spell restrictions began to break and fall. The forbidden area is open. From the blood domain sect, come in. In an instant, the voices of the elders sounded. After hearing the elders' instructions, the disciples of the sect rushed inside. The elder also entered. After entering the forbidden area, it is actually a different world, as if you have gone to another small world. Just as Luo Xingkai was about to give the order, Zhang Yantian quickly grabbed her hand. Luo Xingkai's delicate body trembled and her eyes fell on her hands. Master, don't worry, let them go first. Whoever enters this kind of forbidden area first will get the chance. Luo Xingkai also knew what Zhang Yantian meant, but she was still a little shy when her jade hand was pinched. So he struggled lightly and slowly pulled out. After waiting for a while, Zhang Yan finally spoke. Set off. All the disciples couldn't wait any longer and rushed inside. I am afraid that people from other sects will seize the opportunity first. Luo Xingkai and Zhang Yantian looked at each other and flew away. When they arrived at the Soul Prison, everyone almost had no sense of direction. It is impossible to tell the difference between south, east and north. All I know is to gather together as much as possible and move forward. As the disciples of the sect went deeper and deeper, the atmosphere in the forbidden area became heavier and heavier. Resentful spirits, evil spirits, devouring spirits, the roars and whispers of various spirits are intertwined together. No one dared to slack off, and they were all vigilant about the surroundings with 100% energy. Suddenly, there were bursts of shrill wind sounds. The dead trees began to sway strangely, and the branches were waving like arms. Streams of black smoke rose from the cracks in the ground, condensing into spiritual bodies of different shapes. Careful! The deacon elder of the formation line suddenly shouted softly and raised his hand to resist. Array disciples, form a formation to protect your body. Everyone immediately put their weapons in front of them. A general Bagua array is condensed on the ground, enveloping everyone in it. They didn't dare to act rashly, at least they couldn't mess around before these spirits attacked them. Those spirit bodies exuded a quiet color, and each one condensed into their original appearance, and they were coming towards the disciples in groups. There was still black flames on the spirit body, the temperature dropped sharply, and there was a suffocating oppression. This is 100 Ghosts Night Parade. Luo Xingkai said slowly. Well, in this case, the first to strike is the first to be unlucky. These guys can still keep their composure. Zhang Yantian also responded lightly. However, other sects who encountered this situation were not so lucky. They advocate attack. Wherever there is danger, there is opportunity. But fighting these evil spirits will not be easy. Immediately many died from the mouths of evil spirits. The most anxious person at the moment is actually Yi Feng. He doesn't have to worry about this. Mr. Long is here, and when he comes to this place, he feels like walking on flat ground, very relaxed. But now, Yi Feng knows that he can't rush for success. There is plenty of time. He can leave quietly and collect the secret treasures that belong to him one by one. In the prison of souls, it's all about mentality. Keep your mind calm. It's not a big problem. If one person makes a mistake, it can easily affect others. Luo Xingkai and Zhang Yantian were discussing above. Well, the wailing sounds from other directions have already explained it, and there are still 0 casualties on our side. As long as no one seeks death, everything will be fine. Zhang Yantian was quite familiar with it, and the night walk of 100 ghosts was like a test question that tested his patience. If you can keep your composure and let hundreds of ghosts pass through, you'll basically be fine, but if you do it, the evil spirits will counterattack. As elders protecting the Tao, Zhang Yantian and Luo Xingkai had no intention of reminding them. Except in a pinch. Master. Huh. Luo Xingkai looked down and responded to Zhang Yantian softly. Did you see what I drew today? Hearing this, Luo Xingkai was startled. She pursed her red lips and said, softly. In fact, Luo Xingkai didn't want to admit it. This kind of thing is embarrassing. I saw with my own eyes that my disciple was painting his own portrait, and the painting was so serious and detailed. Anyway, Luo Xingkai saw it and even Nico drew it. Zhang Yantian smiled pretending to be embarrassed. Master, don't think too much, I actually wanted to finish the painting and give it to you. Absolutely no offense intended. Of course, if Master minds, I will destroy it right away. With that said, Zhang Yantian took out the hidden painting again and was about to tear it up. Luo Xingkai naturally knew what he was thinking. If you love yourself in your heart, painting is also a way to relieve yourself. But she still pretended not to know, and quickly stretched out her jade hand to catch Zhang Yantian, who was about to tear up the painting. I didn't think too much about that. Paint, give it to me, I like it very much. Really? Zhang Yantian laughed. Well, really. Zhang Yantian handed the painting to Luo Xingkai. Luo Xingkai also looked at it. Really lifelike. At this time, Zhang Yantian suddenly seemed to remember something and said deliberately, Master, why don't you paint another one? This one is not very good. As he said that, he tentatively stretched out his hand to take it back. Luo Xingkai didn't know why. This painting is very good, what's wrong with it? Just after he finished speaking, Luo Xingkai saw the 2 accompanying poems below. The falling flowers follow the flowing water intentionally, and the flowing water has no intention of falling in love with the falling flowers. Seeing this sentence, Luo Xingkai suddenly understood why Zhang Yantian wanted to take it back. This is clearly describing love, or the kind of secret emotion. It deeply shows the situation between him and her. He was afraid that he would be seen and exposed. Zhang Yantian always does one thing after another when acting. He also pretended to be relaxed. What, these 2 sentences, I mentioned them casually to show off my literary talent. Master, don't think too much about it. Luo Xingkai had already thought too much. Soon she also knew Zhang Yantian's feelings for her. But he also echoed. I know, I didn't think much about it. I think these 2 poems are very good. That's good, Master, you stay here for a while, and I'll go ahead and explore the way, in case these disciples really encounter something they can't solve. With that said, Zhang Yantian moved towards Qinhuan in an instant. Luo Xingkai stayed where he was, staring blankly at the direction Zhang Yantian left. After a moment, a sweet smile appeared on that unparalleled pretty face. In fact, Zhang Yantian walked away on purpose. If you stay there, it will only make the atmosphere awkward, so why not leave as soon as possible? Rushing is an art. If you want to rush comfortably and smoothly, you have to do it step by step. Otherwise, if you just use force, you will basically have a full meal. Just take advantage of this moment to brush up on the humiliation value. In the realm of prisoner spirits, dangers arise one after another. Of course, this is for the average person. For people like Yi Feng, the dangers are only superficial, and everything will be a false alarm. In the end, I got an advantage, gained more knowledge, and gained my reputation. It is impossible for anything to go wrong. After all, I have an old assistant who can help my fellow disciples out of trouble when encountering difficulties. Who wouldn't be a little grateful? Therefore, it is necessary to get rid of Yi Feng as soon as possible. She will not be allowed to experience those things that are supposed to be experienced in the script. Zhang Yantian locked Yi Feng and moved the seal in his hand. Soon, a faint light appeared at Yi Feng's feet. After using a small formation, Yi Feng fell into an illusion. At this moment she still felt like she was moving forward with the large army. I couldn't even see her, and I didn't know where she was going. For a long time, Yi Feng looked at the empty surroundings and fell into confusion. We were walking, why were we alone? Is it possible that there is some kind of magic circle in this dead land? But it was just what he wanted. Mr. Long, I seem to have fallen into a magic circle, and I just came out now. Otherwise, take this opportunity and go directly to the location of those secret treasures. Yi Feng communicated with Mr. Long. It's feasible. To avoid unnecessary complications, now is the right time to go. Mr. Long also agreed with Yi Feng's opinion. Little friend, go right, I will show you the way. Go to the first place first, which is among the lightning-struck trees. Yi Feng was extremely excited. Finally got the secret treasure. She quickened her pace and followed Elder Long's instructions. Zhang Yantian was right above her head. However, in this dead land, even if Yi Feng raised his head, he would only see a mass of fog, and Zhang Yantian could not be seen at all. Looking down from a high place, Yi Feng is walking quickly at this moment. Hesitating that Lao Deng can guide him, even if the place Yi Feng passes is an illusion, it will not affect him at all. Long Laotong is a spirit body, he can see through everything here. The wind blew under Yi Feng's feet, and he ran faster and faster. The speed was like 7. 0. Shrimp catcher, take your mother to fly. As the guardian elder, Zhang Yantian was in charge, so he followed throughout the process. Along the way, Yi Feng did not encounter any danger under the instructions of Mr. Long. We arrived at the first place where the secret treasure was placed very smoothly. Lightning strikes wooden hole. Yi Feng looked at the lightning-struck tree in front of him and couldn't see anything by himself. But after some operations by Mr. Long, a rune suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. Each rune emits a faint blue light and is connected to each other to form an intricate energy network. Zhang Yantian was above, looking at Yi Feng, who nodded from time to time, and understood that this little boy was receiving an education. After a while, Yi Feng's aura was in full bloom, and a strong spiritual energy burst out. He formed seals with his hands, and golden lightning danced on his fingertips. Every time he changed, an invisible force impacted the forbidden runes. According to Yi Feng's cultivation level, it would take a while to break through. Zhang Yantian thought for a moment and immediately untied his belt. Soon, Na Shuo will appear. The golden elixir has already been unedged, and basically there will be no filth. But if Zhang Yantian wants it, it will naturally happen. He aimed at Yi Feng below and his body trembled. A small water column flew down 3,000 feet. Yi Feng had no idea. At this moment, she was concentrating on fighting against the restrictions. This type of magic circle is aggressive, and the light of the runes above it becomes more dazzling. Yi Feng was very confident with a smile on his face. Suddenly, Yi Feng shuddered. I just feel water reaching the top of my head, and then leaking down along my hair, forehead, and tip of my nose. Yi Feng was very puzzled as to why there was water. One of her hands was still sending spiritual energy into the forbidden formation. One hand instinctively placed on his forehead and wiped it down. It's like wiping water on your face after swimming. Sniff, sniff, Yi Feng smelled it, and it had a bit of a smell. After wiping it, the water stains would reach her lips, and she smacked her lips subconsciously. Bah, bah, bah. Why does this water taste so weird? Yi Feng didn't realize what this water was at all. Never mind. Yi Feng did not stick to trivial matters and continued to fight against the forbidden magic circle seriously. It will be broken quickly. Seeing that the rune array began to dilute and dissipate, Yi Feng was very happy. She saw hope. After so long, it finally went smoothly. At the same time, she also saw the hope of revenge. If you get all the secret treasures here, you will have the capital to compete with Zhang Yantian. Those shames and hatreds must be liquidated one by one. Yi Feng gritted his teeth. Zhang Yantian looked at it from above and wanted to laugh. But he did nothing further. This is just the beginning, don't be in a hurry. Finally, with Yi Feng's unremitting efforts, the taboo was broken. A strong spiritual energy swept through her body. With such a strong scent, this piece is definitely a treasure. In fact, Yifeng was right, the golden dragon scissors were an absolute treasure. Even if the Great Law is incomplete, it is still not comparable to a divine weapon. It's a pity that Zhang Yantian took the precious treasure in her heart to clip her nails. Looking at the golden light covered by a large leaf, Yifeng's whole body became hot. The excitement was beyond words. Mr. Long, have you seen it? Have you seen it? Yifeng stared at the golden light under the big leaves, excited. I keep my word. This time, if I say you will gain a lot, it will definitely be a lot. Mr. Long was also very proud. Little friend, this is your opportunity, get the treasure. Okay, okay. Yifeng didn't even bother to say thanks. He quickly squatted down and stretched out his hands. Like holding up an important treasure, from bottom to top, holding the golden light and the big leaf together. Look, what is it? Elder Long said. He could only sense the breath, but he had no way of knowing what the treasure was. He was also anxious for Yifeng at the moment. Yifeng was very happy and said excitedly, it's cold, but it has a hint of decay. If I had to guess, this should be a magic weapon with ice attributes and death attributes. Yifeng became more and more excited. The magic weapon was not a magic weapon. Awesome. She thought for a moment, then reached over, opened her mouth, bit the top of the big leaf, and took the leaf away. This sudden feeling is shocking. Taking the leaf into his mouth, Yifeng suddenly felt a familiar bitter feeling on the tip of his tongue. But she didn't care so much now. Instead, she spit out the leaves and took a sip. The moment the leaves were taken away, the golden light did not explode as expected. But a faint layer of light. It's more like a breath remaining. Yifeng's originally agitated thoughts suddenly seemed like a basin of cold water had been poured on him. Disappointed. Mr. Long, what's going on? Why is it just a breath? Yifeng wanted to complain. Mr. Long was also quite embarrassed. Logically speaking, nothing can go wrong. The aura is correct, this aura is definitely the aura of a divine weapon, but why there is only one aura is unclear. It's impossible for someone to know in advance and take it away. Yifeng thought for a while. Maybe it's wrapped in this black mud. Yifeng didn't want to give up hope, so he started to pull. After some digging, I found something was wrong. The outer layer is a little dry due to environmental reasons. But when I pulled it out, it was still very thick inside. It immediately flowed out, and my hands were covered with it. Sniff, sniff. Yifeng frowned and took a deep sniff. The next second, her eyes widened and she threw away her hand. This is shit, Blanche. Yifeng is very familiar with this thing. Isn't it the rice field of the spiritual lemur when we climbed the Elder Peak? Vomit. Yifeng waved his hands desperately, trying to shake off all the rice fields. Fortunately, I didn't eat much when we set off, otherwise I would have vomited everything. Now he was retching until his eyes were red and he was swallowing like crazy. Looking at the scene below, Zhang Yantian burst into laughter. But he laughed silently. And Yifeng was also helpless at the moment. Elder Long also explained, perhaps after endless years, the divine weapon gave birth to spiritual wisdom. Don't be anxious, little friends. There are still many places to go. The harvest is inevitable. Yifeng thought about it too. Mr. Long is not to blame for this matter. Elder Long could only sense the breath, but it was impossible to know what was placed inside. Perhaps, as Mr. Long said, this magic weapon had its own spiritual intelligence. Yifeng regained his confidence and followed Mr. Long's instructions to move to the next place. She used her footwork and ran wildly within the prisoner's forbidden area again. Stage A, Fast and Furious 18. Quote question mark. 7. 9. Pull her off. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Following Elder Long's instructions, she didn't slow down when turning, and directly used Sha Shu's drainage channel to drift. Zhang Yantian naturally followed from above. There is nothing more comfortable than watching Yifeng deflate. After all this time, I'm still peeing. The second place that was sensed was a cave entrance full of dry vines. However, apart from the spirit body, there is really nothing visible at the entrance of this cave. That is an illusion. To outsiders, it is just a stone wall. Yifeng followed Long Laoding's wishes and hit the stone wall directly with his eyes closed. When I opened my eyes, I was already inside the cave. This cave belongs to an extinct volcano with a large cave entrance above. It was just covered by fog, and the sky couldn't be seen at a glance. How could Yi Feng have imagined that Zhang Yantian was standing at the same position again, ready to untie his belt? Just like before, Yi Feng began to break the restrictive array under the instructions of Long Laoding. This time the ban on a stone platform was broken. It looks like there is nothing, but in fact the thing is behind the forbidden formation. The spiritual energy and the formation fought against each other, constantly impacting, forming waves of air. Just as Yi Feng was in progress, she felt a water column on top of her head again. In an instant, he was drenched. Yi Feng shuddered again. What the hell is it? Why does it always irritate my head when I break the restriction? Yi Feng finally realized something was wrong. She raised her hand and wiped it on her face again. It tastes weird, but it's not that weird. It's just a liquid that has been fermented, but it doesn't have a strong smell. In fact, Mr. Long didn't know. Of course, he is just a spirit body. If the real body were here, he would not think of someone having such evil intentions. Will on other people's heads when they break their restrictions. This is entirely a matter of concept and cognition. Mr. Long thought for a while. Perhaps it is a small strange phenomenon born from the sky, and the water column falling from the sky is also a good omen. Yi Feng remained noncommittal and continued to break the restrictive array. Zhang Yantian, who was above, almost laughed like crazy. Talent. There is also a column of water falling from the sky, which is a good omen. But it's true that being made by Dajie is not a good omen. Zhang Yantian put it away, gathered strength, and prepared for the next round of raindrops. After a while, Yi Feng broke the taboo again. This time, she was more cautious. The mentality is also calm. Not as promising as it was at the beginning. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. It is better to face it with a normal heart. Sometimes in life, there must be a chance, and the opportunity that belongs to her will definitely not escape. After breaking the restriction, a stone platform appeared. There is a long wooden box placed on the stone platform. Mr. Long, you won't make any mistakes this time. The smell is strong, and the secret treasure is in the box. Yi Feng almost screamed and jumped up. I'm just telling you, you can't run away from this opportunity. Mr. Long chuckled. Yi Feng also swallowed, his heart excited and his hands trembling. She slowly reached over and opened the box. When the box is opened, in an instant, blue light bloomed. Yi Feng was so stabbed that he couldn't open his eyes. He quickly turned away and raised his hands to block it. This breath made Yi Feng feel refreshed. There is a refreshing feeling of bathing in clear water and green mountains. This aura, could it be the bitter bamboo with the 10 and 8 spiritual roots? No, it should be the bitter bamboo seedlings. Elder Long also felt it and felt excited. Bitter bamboo is a relic from the prehistoric period and is as famous as the flat peach tree. If it can be refined into 6 pure bamboos, it will have the magical power to seal one's 6 senses, and it will be a well-deserved innate spiritual root. Hearing Mr. Long's exaggerated exclamation, Yi Feng was very excited. He picked up the box and poked his head over. The scene inside also confused Yi Feng. Didn't you say bitter bamboo seedlings? Why is there still a piece of black inside? It doesn't look like soil. And inside, just like before, there was a breath hovering. Is it possible that it's not a bitter bamboo seedling, but a bitter bamboo seed buried underneath? With this mentality, Yi Feng still raised his hand and pulled it. This time, the smell came again. You blank. Yi Feng was so angry that he smashed the box on the ground. Little friend, what's going on? Before Mr. Long could react, Yi Feng smashed it. This is not a bitter bamboo seedling at all, and there are no bitter bamboo seeds underneath. This is just shit, just like before. Yi Feng was very angry and felt bad all over. What the hell, chance. Could it be that shit is his chance? There is a trace of aura left in both places, and the rest is a reply. Yi Feng was a little suspicious, whether someone was up to something. But after thinking about it, it's still impossible. The imprisoned spirit place opens only once every 100 years, and according to what Mr. Long said, basically no one can explore it except the spirit body. Those who come here to look for opportunities cannot have spiritual bodies. Even the resentful spirits in this forbidden area have no way to break through the restrictions. Only in a situation like hers, if Elder Long attached himself to the spirit-melting mirror, gave her guidance, and then used his own spiritual power to break the restriction, could he be able to open it? It can be said that both are indispensable. But how to explain these defenses? Yi Feng was puzzled. At this time, Mr. Long said seriously, "Little friend, this thing is not a coincidence. Something like this happened just now, and there may be some connection." Some kind of connection. Yi Feng frowned and asked in confusion. "That's right, think about it, what happened first when we were at the lightning strike wood, and what are the similarities with now?" Yi Feng thought about the similarities, and then an idea flashed. "When I was breaking the restriction, a column of water fell from the sky." Elder Long agreed. "That's right, after the water column falls from the sky, the secret treasure disappears. Now there is another column of water falling from the sky, and the secret treasure disappears again." Yi Feng's eyes suddenly widened. Mr. Long continued, "I guess there must be a column of water falling from the sky in the next place." Yi Feng's mind was spinning very fast, and he realized it instantly. "Mr. Long, I understand, you mean, this is like a signal. The water column showers my head and the secret treasure disappears. If I resist the water column when it appears again in the next place, or I open my mouth to catch it and prevent the water column from pouring out, will the secret treasure still exist?" Yi Feng understands this kind of thing. It's not like I haven't met him before. I still recall the time when I accidentally picked up the soul fusion mirror, and a strange phenomenon occurred in the world. Yi Feng used his body to block the light refracted from the blood moon in the sky, and then he was recognized by the spirit wrong mirror. Only then will we get to know Mr. Long, and then we will have the amazing opportunity and the time to rise. The journey of cultivating immortality is full of strange things. Some things may seem inconspicuous, but in fact they are a signal, or perhaps a key point. The more Yi Feng thought about it, the more certain he became. This was like a test. Although Mr. Long is not sure, there is no harm in doing so. My friend, your guess is very accurate. There are many avenues, but perhaps one inconspicuous step will change everything. Yi Feng realized it immediately. Mr. Long, I understand. In that case, let's go to the next secret treasure place as soon as possible. Yi Feng is full of energy. He left the cave directly. Zhang Yantian above was dumbfounded. Do these two guys have such big ideas? The key is that Zhang Yantian felt that it made some sense. The next location, if there is no mistake, is the location where the fragments of the god-killing spear were placed before. Over there, Zhang Yantian didn't release the feces of the spirit lemur, but a very ordinary first-level ordinary spiritual weapon. The value of a mid-grade spiritual stone is such that even a dog can afford it. But touching the spiritual weapon is equivalent to touching the bad luck array set by oneself. Being infected by the bad luck array, you will be completely unlucky in one day. Zhang Yantian also followed directly. In order to verify his conjecture, Yi Feng stepped even faster. Somewhat impatient. Directly perform. Initial D. Takumi, you drive really well, but I still like my uncle's Mercedes, very quickly. With Yi Feng's unremitting efforts, he finally arrived at the third location. This is a swamp. Of course, to outsiders it looks like a swamp. For Yi Feng, who was carrying a cheat, everything was an illusion. When she walked over, she felt like walking on flat ground. We walked directly to the center of the swamp. My little friend, remember the idea just now. I will give you instructions to break the formation. Please pay attention to the water column falling from the sky. Mr. Long said seriously. Don't worry, Mr. Long. Yi Feng nodded heavily. Then, under the guidance of Mr. Long, Yi Feng kneaded the seals and began to break the formation again. This level of taboo formation is impossible for Yi Feng to crack. But Long Lao is here. Before becoming a spiritual body, Mr. Long was a 9th grade alchemist and a 6th grade formation Taoist. These taboo formations are a piece of cake. As spiritual power poured in, the runes on the formation flashed again. This time it's a black rune. Yi Feng watched in all directions and listened in all directions. While breaking the formation, he was still thinking about the water column falling from the sky. Zhang Yantian above him untied his belt again. I'm sorry, Yi Feng thought about it for so long. After taking it out, Zhang Yantian drank it again. Yifeng was well prepared, and she exclaimed excitedly when she saw the small water column appearing again in the mist. Mr. Long, he's here again as expected. Okay, little friend, please gather some spiritual energy and concentrate on dealing with the water column falling from the sky. Yifeng originally wanted to take out the container from the storage bag, pack it and take it back to study to see if he could drink it. After all, as long as the raindrops from the sky don't fall on your head, that's all. But when she was concentrating on breaking the formation, she didn't think about this. I am also afraid that I will be poured directly on my head and my chance will be ruined again. Simply raise your head and open your mouth. He caught the water column with great precision. Grr. Yifeng took it and swallowed it, really afraid of leaking it. Zhang Yantian above felt his scalp numb. So perverted. But he still deliberately made it a little crooked. This caused some of it to hit the tip of Yifeng's nose. When the rain stopped, Yifeng licked his lips. Little friend, how are you? Mr. Long asked anxiously. Yifeng thought for a while. It feels very different. The spiritual energy seems to be stronger and more refreshing. It just tastes weird, but it's not harmful. Perhaps this is what the water column falling from the sky should feel like. This may also be my opportunity. Water comes out without a source, which can be regarded as a small miracle of heaven and earth. It's just a pity that the wind may have blown by just now and some leaked to my nose. I hope it won't ruin this opportunity. Mr. Long, please continue to guide me in breaking the formation. This time, I think there will be no problem. Mr. Long is also waiting to see. Continue to guide Yifeng to break the formation. Finally, after 2/4 of an hour, the formation gradually dissolved and was broken. The black energy that caught his eye made Mr. Long excited again. Little friend, this aura is the God-killing spear. Yes, it is the God-killing spear, but the aura is not strong. It should be the fragments of the God-killing spear with missing laws. But it's also a valuable treasure. Mr. Long was very excited. Yifeng was even more excited. Black air lingers, but it is no longer the same as before, only a small group. This time the black energy is wrapped around a long object. Judging from the appearance of the black air wrapped around it, it looks like a long gun. Mr. Long, I feel it. Yifeng said, directly reaching out his hand and grabbing the black energy. The moment he was caught, the black energy suddenly turned into a whirlwind and spread around. What caught my eye was indeed a spear. Mr. Long, is this the God-killing spear? Yifeng's hands were trembling. Elder Long was also embarrassed. He had never seen the body of the God-killing spear, but he could still tell it based on its aura. The aura is not strong, the God-killing spear is certain, but it is incomplete and should still be one of the fragments. That's all right, I finally found a secret treasure. Yifeng directly picked up the spear and waved it twice in his hand. But, the aura that came out next seemed to be that of a very low-level first-level spiritual weapon. However, Yifeng didn't think much about it. He mainly suffered from lack of knowledge. He put it directly into the storage bag. In any case, they are innate spiritual treasures and fragments of divine weapons. As long as there are fragments, there is a chance to put them together. Even if they can't get it all together, if this fragment is sold to some big families and powerful forces, it will be a big deal. In this way, there are not too many cultivation resources. But when he put it away, a flash of black smoke flashed above his head. It's like it's been marked. Yifeng felt an inexplicable shiver. My heart was panicking. Little friend, you retracted that God-killing spear too quickly just now. I didn't see it clearly. Something seems wrong. After all, Mr. Long is well informed, but he always feels that there is something wrong. Don't worry, Mr. Long. We'll look at it later. Anyway, it's all in the bag. The top priority is to go to the next place as soon as possible, wait until all the secret treasures are obtained, and then find the people of the sect. Mr. Long also thought it made sense and got them all. Because of what happened just now, Yifeng's confidence doubled. Everything was as she expected. That column of precipitation from the sky was probably a trigger of opportunity. I didn't catch it in front, so I got wet and the secret treasure was gone. Now that I have caught it with my mouth, not only am I feeling refreshed, but I also have a secret treasure. When you think about it, hey, what a genius. Zhang Yantian followed him from beginning to end. In the next few places, Zhang Yantian presented columns of precipitation from the sky. Especially when Zhang Yantian moved deliberately, Yifeng still turned his head upward, opened his mouth, and drank after the water column. This made Zhang Yantian feel a little embarrassed. But every time, Yifeng got what Zhang Yantian put in again. Of course, it's just a powerful aura, and the things placed there are actually the cheapest goods, just changed their appearance. But Yifeng always felt like he had found a treasure and was delighted throughout the whole process. Finally, after wandering around for a long time, there was only one place left. This time, the location of the secret treasure is another cave. This cave is quite special. The outside circle is covered with vegetation. The vegetation is small, with curling branches, dark, surrounding the entrance of the cave, and spread all over the cave. The entrance to the cave is vertical, not large, and there are a few dewdrops falling from the edge around it. Mr. Long, this cave is very special. Looking at the cave in front of him, Yifeng swallowed. Mr. Long didn't know why. Why is it special? Yifeng thought for a moment. I can't explain it, anyway, it just makes people's blood boil. Mr. Long, this looks a bit abandoned. Can this point still be used? Mr. Long shook his head. According to the aura, this point is broken. But you can try to go in, but don't go too deep. Understood. Yifeng nodded, pulled away and went in. After walking dozens of steps, I suddenly became enlightened. Zhang Yantian was still watching quietly. He had left ancient characters on this place. After seeing the characters, Yifeng naturally understood. There was another burst of rustling, and then the formation broke. This time there were no plumes of water falling from the sky. Someone has peed cleanly and doesn't want to pee anymore. The first thing Yifeng saw was a leather scroll with ancient characters written on it. She quickly picked it up and looked at it seriously. Yifeng looked at the words left behind and couldn't help but read, I am the ancient true God. I peeked into the future and learned that there will be people who are destined to come here. Yifeng's eyes lit up, and he knew without guessing that it was definitely a valuable treasure. The ancient true God. Yifeng continued to read. A lot of introductions in the middle were basically nonsense. When I saw the second half, I was already introducing the secret treasures left behind. Destined person, what I leave behind is that after taking the innate Tao body pill, you can reversibly change your body and achieve the innate Tao body. Seeing this, Yifeng asked doubtfully, Mr. Long, do you know about the innate Taoist body? Innate Taoist body, a top-notch physique unique among billions, born with a shortcut to Taoism, can make people realize Taoism easily. Mr. Long was shocked. Mr. Long, are you saying that with this system, no matter what you learn, you will be able to learn very quickly? That's right, that's right. This is an absolutely great opportunity, little friend, if you become an innate Taoist body, and with my guidance, you can go straight to becoming a god in less than 5 years. Yifeng shouted that he was awesome. This is simply an invincible existence. Yifeng continued to watch, those were all telling how awesome the ancient gods were. Later, it was mentioned again, after taking the elixir, inject spiritual power into the skin scroll, and you can see how it works. If you peek into the next chapter without swallowing it, the law will automatically collapse. Yifeng was shocked, he was indeed an ancient true god. Yifeng hesitated for a moment, then directly picked up the elixir placed in the small box and threw it into his mouth. He would never miss such an opportunity. Mr. Long didn't even have time to stop it, and it seemed that he couldn't stop it. Yifeng was too eager to get it done. But there's no harm in it. This elixir won't hurt Yifeng in any way, otherwise he would be able to sense it to some extent. After eating the black thing, Yifeng impatiently injected his spiritual power into the leather scroll, wanting to see how it worked. Sure enough, after the spiritual power was injected, a row of words was revealed. Yifeng thought it was a mental formula. But when I read it, I realized something wasn't quite right. Silly, what you just ate was a small ball made of feces, wrapped in a layer of cinnabar. It also has an innate Taoist body. Eat your feces, ha 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 ha. What do you mean? Yifeng was confused. Mr. Long was too embarrassed to speak. So, disgusting. Hiccup. Vomit. Yifeng suddenly felt his stomach growling, and a foul smell surged up from his esophagus. Yifeng couldn't help but hold on to the stone wall, Wow, snap, 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 snap. Yi Feng immediately vomited. Cough, 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 vomit. You, let me blanch it. You. Ding, Yi Feng is excited and happy. Who would have thought that he would actually eat poop? The humiliation value is plus 10,000. Ding, the water column falling from the sky is like a chance. It's okay even if I'm half full. The humiliation value is plus 10000. Ding, cut off his path of karma, destroy his marriage line, and reverse Yi Feng's intention to practice Taoism. The road to spiritual cultivation is difficult, but now I have become a man who is better than a man. The humiliation value is plus 10000. Hide the humiliation value. When Yi Feng knows all the truth in the forbidden area, the humiliation value will be plus 20000. Listening to the continuous sound of the system, Zhang Yantian felt happy for a while. Sure enough, his mood was always based on the pain of others. Yi Feng's opportunities in this field were basically blocked by Zhang Yantian. Even if she could find it, it would have little effect on her. Of course, there is no guarantee that the lucky protagonist will encounter other opportunities. It's just that Zhang Yantian is really not interested in playing with her anymore. In addition to destroying Yi Feng's opportunity, this line of work also has more important tasks. The Changshi Plan. In this world, Luo Xingkai is the only one who has really moved Zhang Yantian's heart so far. Although the others have their own merits, they always feel almost the same. Luo Xingkai was really different. Every time Zhang Yantian saw her, he would feel an urge. The urge to have a healthy child. Zhang Yantian immediately headed in the direction of Luo Xingkai. Tongzi. Ding, there it is. Can other tasks be generated? For example, about my master, you will be rewarded for kissing me, and you will be rewarded for being kind and patient. Zhang Yantian had some small expectations. This system is a system that humiliates the protagonist. It slaps the protagonist in the face, humiliates the protagonist, and destroys the protagonist's opportunities. Everything can only be related to the lucky protagonist. There's nothing wrong with that. Look, Yi Feng has a crush on Luo Xingkai. This is a fact. If I take Luo Xingkai away, isn't it the same as suppressing and humiliating the protagonist? If you follow the original work, it's okay, but you have changed the plot. Yi Feng has become a eunuch. She has begun to have no interest in women. However, we are still allowed to undertake special missions. Then come on. Ding, the system is generating tasks. Task 1. Hug Master, rewards will be distributed randomly. Task 2. Master Nico is successfully reached, and rewards will be distributed randomly. Task 3. Kiss the Master, rewards will be distributed randomly. Task 4. Eat the Master's meat buns, and the rewards will be randomly distributed. Except for Mission 1, the rewards for other missions are guaranteed to be artifacts, and the host can take on the missions on their own. Zhang Yantian thought for a while, can I take over? Modify it into a long-term task, not a temporary task. It's okay, it's been changed to a long-term mission. Well done, what a good person. While talking to the system, Zhang Yantian had already seen Luo Xingkai's silhouette from a distance. She hugged her chest with her hands, looking cool, tall, and extremely beautiful. It looks good, I love watching it, I think about it. Ding, a new task is triggered. Will the host accept it? Just when Zhang Yantian was about to approach, the system's voice suddenly sounded. What's going on? Zhang Yantian was a little confused. Ding, because the host has devoured Wahiao, the news has reached Xuanling sect, and the elder of the alchemy lineage is furious. He put all the blame on the host and wants to wait for the host to go back and ask for the blame. Blank. Zhang Yantian snorted coldly. Only those rotten vegetable leaves. What's the mission about? Ding, according to big data calculations, Tongzi can sense that the host must be very unhappy, so he wants to issue an additional task for you to go and get rid of the fire. The elder who enshrined the alchemy system lost his wife in his early years and married a beautiful daughter. However, he neglected his beloved wife because he studied alchemy all the time. After this mission, after the training is over, without telling the elder of the alchemy veins, his beloved wife will be rewarded with the innate spiritual treasure, 12th grade world-destroying Black Lotus. Whether to accept the mission depends entirely on the host. Zhang Yantian couldn't help but want to laugh. After all, He and the elder who enshrined the alchemy veins had called each other brothers. Zhang Yantian had met his lovely wife. Charming, romantic and gorgeous woman. The pale eyebrows and eyes are springy, and the skin is as delicate as jade, which is more than enough to be used as a fire extinguisher. Take it and fix it when you get back. Zhang Yantian smiled arrogantly. Soon, Zhang Yantian also headed directly towards Luo Xingkai. Master. Zhang Yantian patted Luo Xingkai on the shoulder from behind. What's the situation now? Zhang Yantian asked directly. Luo Xingkai shook his head. Compared to other sects, it's okay. After the 100 Ghosts night walk, the disciples dispersed. Some of them encountered the red and white demons, so they could barely cope with it. Injury, no death. That's okay. In a place like this, risks and opportunities coexist. Luo Xingkai took a serious look at Zhang Yantian at this time. Where have you been? It took you so long to come back. Walking around, I found that nothing is getting better here. It's better to stay with Master. At least I can look up to him in his prime. Such direct words also made Luo Xingkai's pretty face feel slightly hot. She glared at Zhang Yantian with some annoyance. If you dare to say these words again, you won't be polite as a teacher. Ah. Oh. Zhang Yantian smiled and said, you're welcome. If you want to be beaten, you can beat me as long as you don't sleep in. Huh. What is lazy sleep? Zhang Yantian smiled even more. Oh, it's just like a banana. It's delicious. Master, do you want to eat it? Really? Try it for me, Master. Luo Xingkai didn't understand and really thought it was delicious. Zhang Yantian always likes to come up with new tricks, and she knows this. Zhang Yantian really wanted to take it out and feed it to his master. But if I take it out now, I have to worry about Luo Xingkai's Shuihan fairy sword. If something clicks, it's not the end of the world. Well, don't worry, I will give it to Master after a while, even if it is to feed Master. As he said that, Zhang Yantian looked at Luo Xingkai's soft and touching red lips and felt a tremor. If I was really attracted by Master's soft and sweet mouth, I would take off directly. Okay. Luo Xingkai didn't force it. He just wanted to eat it next time. His curiosity was aroused by Zhang Yantian's words. I definitely can't feed my master now. But he still has a lot to eat. Anyway, he was still taking care of his disciples. Nothing happened. Zhang Yantian directly took out 2 glass cups from the storage ring. He took out another wine bag. Master, I'll let you eat it next time I'm lazy, but you can try the tea I made first. Luo Xingkai raised her hand and tucked her bun behind her fair ears, her pretty face full of curiosity. Zhang Yantian handed the cup to Luo Xingkai's jade hand, and it slipped from her palm. Soft and fragrant. Luo Xingkai looked at the cup in his hand. This cup is so special. It's completely transparent. It must be a glass cup. Zhang Yantian unscrewed the wine bag and responded smoothly. Oh, you mean this cup? I made it myself from gravel. It's called Fiji Cup. Fiji Cup. The name is quite special. Luo Xingkai smiled softly. Zhang Yantian poured a glass for Luo Xingkai. What was poured out had a milky aroma and the sweetness of red beans. Is this red bean? Can it be used to make tea? It smells so good. Zhang Yantian smiled to himself. Few women could resist a cup of fresh and sweet milk tea. Master, I developed this myself. It's called red bean milk tea. I boil red beans, make tea, and add fresh milk. As he spoke, his eyes drifted to Luo Xingkai's proud mountain peak. It's really special, I'll try it. Luo Xingkai wanted to try it after smelling it. She put the rim of the cup to her red lips and took an elegant sip. The moment she entered, Luo Xingkai's beautiful eyes suddenly widened. This mellow flavor stimulates the taste buds and refreshes you. Gives people a warm and sweet feeling. It tastes great. Did you really develop this yourself? Luo Xingkai seemed to feel much better after drinking this. The feeling is real. Sweets relieve stress and soothe the body and mind. In fact, many people don't know this. Zhang Yantian wanted this question so that he could make it up. Yes. Zhang Yantian sighed. Master should remember the person I told you about, the person deep in my heart. Luo Xingkai was suddenly startled, but still nodded. In fact, the birth of this tea was an accident. The feeling of secretly loving someone is bitter. I used to use the bitterest bitter tea to make tea and drink it, because the bitter taste can temporarily overwhelm the bitterness of loving her. Luo Xingkai was stunned for a moment. My heart was even more touched. She really understands now that this bad boy loves her so deeply. Zhang Yantian sighed again. Since I left Master last time, I have actually thought about it. It is enough for her to live well. So, I thought about burying the remaining red beans on hand and putting them down. But I accidentally dropped the red beans into the teapot. In a hurry, I wanted to fish them up, but accidentally knocked over the fresh milk, so. Is this the birth of this tea? Luo Xingkai was very surprised. Well, I hid it by mistake, but it really has a different taste. I also like this taste very much. Zhang Yantian also picked up the cup and took a sip. Well, this tastes really good. Luo Xingkai pursed her red lips. Zhang Yantian smiled faintly. If she can taste this taste, I will be satisfied. I believe that when she drinks it, she will be in a good mood. If she's good, I'm good. After Zhang Yantian finished speaking, he secretly cursed himself for saying such a dog-licking quote. Luo Xingkai looked calm, but his heart had already stirred up huge waves. She couldn't help but look at Zhang Yantian, and there was a complicated expression in those beautiful eyes. From Luo Xingkai's perspective, Zhang Yantian thought he didn't know, but in fact he knew everything. In order to hide his inner feelings, he actually created a virtual person. But it makes sense. Luo Xingkai was even a little impulsive and wanted to tell Zhang Yantian, I drank it. I like it very much. At this time, Zhang Yantian let out a long sigh again. Luo Xingkai didn't know why and couldn't help asking, what's wrong? Sigh. Master, I say it's easy, but in fact I still can't let her go. Every time I think of her, my heart aches. Master, can I make a request to you? Of course, it may be a little rude. Luo Xingkai was startled again. You said. Zhang Yantian looked sad and spoke in a low tone. You also know that I am an orphan. I was abandoned in the river when I was born. Even my name was chosen by myself. The surname Zhang comes from the river that scooped me up, and the word, Haitian, means that I hate everything under the world. In fact, I also long for love, so when I fall in love with someone, I almost give everything I have. So master, can I hug you? Of course, don't think too much about it. I just think that you are my master and an elder. Don't wait for Zhang Yantian to finish his nonsense. Luo Xingkai moved. A burst of fragrance hits your nose. Zhang Yantian himself was a little surprised. Because Luo Xingkai took the initiative to greet him. Zhang Yantian only felt a softness and fragrance in his arms. When he looked closely, Luo Xingkai had already raised his arms to hug him. Woohoo! Hitting people with the ball. You're a big boy with great breasts, it's so cool, baby, the bully seaweed sandwich is crispy, I'm going to accept it. Zhang Yantian smiled in his heart, and at the same time stretched out his hand and hugged Luo Xingkai tightly. Above the mist of the prisoner's prison, two figures hugged each other tightly. Luo Xingkai didn't know why, but he felt a lot of pain in his heart. He just followed his heart and hugged Zhang Yantian. In the past, this kind of thing would have been impossible even to death. She didn't even know it, but she had already fallen into Zhang Yantian's trap. Zhang Yantian was naturally happy. The words are false, the story is half truth, but the heart is true. He really likes Luo Xingkai, likes her appearance, likes her figure, likes her patience, likes everything about her. Time seemed to stand still, and the two were not separated for a long time. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the hug mission, with a humiliation value of 5,000 and a random reward of anti-leakage and Sophie sanitary napkins for day and night use each box. Nima, give me this thing. This is a fantasy world of immortality. This thing is comparable to a magical weapon. The women here basically use cloth. All the immortal cultivators have gone off grain and don't even need to eat. Do you think Tiankui will come? Of course it will. If a woman wants to cut off Tiankui, she needs to kill the red dragon, but if she has desires and needs, she basically can't cut them off. This ability is there. Okay, you're right, but if I don't accept it, just ask, is this sanitary napkin a beat thing? Seem, what a beat thing. Nah, so, pay attention to the questions. Okay, Please pay attention to your health and take care of yourself. Don't disturb me from enjoying Master's tenderness. After hugging her for a long time, Luo Xinkei's beautiful eyes slowly closed, as if she was immersed in it. Zhang Yantian naturally wanted it. But some things just backfire. Is that a fellow Taoist from the Xuanling sect over there? Please help me. An old voice sounded. Luo Xingkai woke up from a dream, her delicate body trembled, and she quickly left Zhang Yantian's embrace. The whole pretty face was flushed like a cloud, a pair of beautiful hands were holding each other, the teeth were biting the red lips, and the head was lowered, looking uneasy. Zhang Yantian, on the other hand, had a smile on his face and MMP in his heart. The old Biden who just spoke dared to interrupt his good deeds. If you don't cut him into 8 pieces today, you will consider your son-destroying knife to be rusty. Anyway, Luo Xingkai is in embarrassment right now, so he should take advantage of this time to kill the opponent. Master, I'm going to see where they need help. You should go see the disciples first to avoid any accidents. Luo Xingkai nodded slightly, and Chenying stepped forward, as if running away. I was really embarrassed just now. When Luo Xingkai disappeared from sight, Zhang Yantian's face suddenly turned gloomy. He raised his hand and grabbed it in the air, and the yang-destroying knife instantly appeared in his hand. The entire sun-killing knife was emitting a black light, which was very eye-catching. When the nascent soul master over there saw Zhang Yantian coming, he secretly blamed him in his heart. They are all familiar sects and should help each other. When other sects were fighting against evil spirits, the two of them were hugging each other. When other sect protectors were helping the disciples out of trouble, the two were hugging each other. It seems that they are not here to protect the Taoism at all, but to fall in love. But seeing Zhang Yantian taking out all his weapons, he definitely wanted to help. Fellow Taoist, our disciples of Muyu sect accidentally entered the ancient thunder formation. I dare to ask if my friend possesses thunder attribute skills. Thanks for watching, please subscribe and support our channel.